There we go. I missed us there for a second. I was like, we're going to come in there? Oh, man. I was like, well, we're still on the intro page. Anyway, Facts, Lies, One Truth Network. And we have two Joes, Wannabe Pros. Ox here, Mice on the other side. I was going to ask you a question. And it was, what is your favorite... And that's not it. What is your favorite alcoholic drink that you never have?
My favorite that's a tough one because I feel like I drink my favorite alcoholic drink.
Well, you got to think like this is just an example. I don't drink strawberry. I don't have strawberry daiquiris at home, but I like strawberry daiquiris a lot.
Okay.
That's as an example. Like you would never buy the shit because it's sugary and sticky mess, not healthy for you. But man, you love them. You want to have, you know what I mean? You want to have one when you're out, or it's your favorite drink that you never have.
I'm actually going to go with the whiskey sour here.
Oh.
Because I typically go towards vodka, but when I have a whiskey sour, great drink. They really are, man. And I haven't had it in a long time. That's the one thing that came to mind for me. And I almost went with an espresso martini, but I'm like, I order those.
Yeah, so, I almost said that as well, and we just got the stuff for it.
Oh, you did? You're going to make that at home?
Yeah, we've been making them at home. We got a bunch of shit. Like we got very bougie coffee liqueur.
Okay.
It's called Mr. Black, I believe. It was like $40.
Damn.
Yeah. So we got bougie coffee. Anyway, we make espresso martinis now. And the one on the cruise that we went on, they put Guinness in theirs. So.
And an espresso martini? I hate that. I hate it.
You hate Guinness?
I wouldn't in an espresso martini. I want vodka and I want true espresso and coffee liquor. Like that's it.
Yeah.
I don't want anything else.
That's fair.
So that's just how I feel about it.
The Guinness is the original Guinness in the can. It's very light, so it just kind of gives a little chocolatey to it. But I understand it's very light. It's very little, so it really didn't make that much of a difference, to be honest with you. But I like Guinness. So that's
I've also never tried it, so I can't say a whole lot.
Maybe we'll make one when you come down. I don't know. We have all the shit. If I don't drink it all before that.
There's always a store to go to get more.
That is true. There always is. We got a good episode today. A lot of stuff to get to. So we won't play around too much. But you can find us on everything. YouTube. Your mom watches on YouTube. You just told me that, which is so cool. Mom, if you're watching, thanks for watching. Make sure you put us on full blast in the house. And we got to pretty much find a Spotify. And then we got people watching or listening on Spotify, Apple Podcast, all of that. Give us a download, 5 stars, and a comment. We got good stuff. We have Where We Were Right. Because we don't have a Survivor anymore. We talked about throwing in a segment in the middle of there. Since it was so late last night, I didn't want to commit because I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I noticed you didn't reply back, but it was also a last minute thing. So it's like, it could have given more thought to it.
I was pondering it. I haven't committed one way or another. I think we could come up with something creative, but I don't have it yet. And I guess I'm going to sit on it.
That's fair. I trust you'll come up with something good.
Thank you. I was going to ask you, what is, because this is coming off of last night, what is the highest, ROI percentage? So I hit a plus 750 last night. What is the highest bet that you've hit in terms of odds?
Pretty sure 1,200.
That's really good.
And it's actually a bet I like making every week. I'll do like a 4 touchdown score parlay. So you take anytime touchdowns and you parlay, and I'll take 4 players from 4 different games. I love those bets, and that usually gets you to around 1,200 or something like that. And I know last year I hit at least one of the, it's not always plus 1,200, but the biggest one I hit was plus 1,200.
Wow, that's pretty sweet. I don't know if 750 is my highest. It feels good. But yeah, I was guessing the exact score of a MLS game.
What was the score?
2-1.
Okay.
I feel like a lot of those bets like that are pretty lucky, right? Because the odds are so high anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were in extra time. Douglas McGuire came in as a sub striker for the Orlando City. And he was dribbling down. It was just him and the goalie, and he rips it. It's literally the end. It's at extra time. It should be called and the goalie like had to tip one because it was going to go in. The goalie had to tip it out with his fingertips for it to stay 2-1. That'd have been 3-1. But
just to keep it exciting, I like that happened because you made you sweat.
Oh, I was, bro. And also had them to win. So if I would have lost the bet, it would have been fine. But yeah, no, I was like, oh, okay. So anyway, I hit that. And that felt pretty good. But anyway, I was just curious at what your highest was. 1,200 is pretty nice. I don't think I have that. I don't think.
Yeah, because I bet, I bet one of us have hit a golf bet probably, on a winner at plus 2,000 or better. But I can't recall that I have.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We do golf betting, but that'd be the only time where I'm ever even betting something that high of odds.
True. Yeah, that's true. Anyway, where we were right, not just last night. I only have one this week. It's probably my first. It is my first losing week for the podcast, specifically in terms of best bets. I didn't do too hot, but I did get the Elliott again. His under 28 rushing yards. His rushing yards for this week is not listed
because you've been raping them every week.
Yeah,
you've just been taking it week after week, and it keeps cashing.
My millions of units that I'm betting has been just destroying their souls. Yeah, so they've dropped 2 weeks in a row. I am assuming it's probably. I could see it being 24-20.
Oh, big time. They've got to keep going lower because he's getting like 16 yards a game.
That's what I'm saying. It could be lower than that. But Dowdle actually has a decently high one. He's listed.
Okay. What's his at? Like around 50?
Yes, 49.5.
I was going to say Cowboys don't really have a rushing attack at all, so
it
can't be that high.
The Steelers safeties are probably the two best run-stopping safeties in the league, if you look at their grade specifically. But their defensive line is more of a pass rush getter line, more.
For sure. That's true.
But anyway, I don't know what gives there. I was looking at it. I don't know. But anyway, I had that one right at least. And then you're back on the board. I think are you back yet, or is it too soon to tell?
I think I'm back. Because I feel good about this week too. The funny thing is last week, we had to like crunch it because we went early.
Yes.
And that's when I went 2-1 on my best bets and 4-1 on all the bets I talked about on the podcast. So I'm like, what a great week when I had to crunch it in.
Yeah. Did this numbers jump at all from when you got them?
No. So what we got right. So Bengals minus 4.5. They won by 10 versus the Panthers. Pretty sure that closed 4.5.
Okay.
And then. Why am I spacing on the Bucks?
Yes.
That number did change. So I got them at plus 2.5. They closed plus 1.
I have two from Hard Rock, which is what I use, and Pinnacle had it at 1.5. Plus. Okay. Sorry, plus for the Bucks.
So it went a little bit more in my direction.
A little bit. Yeah.
Didn't need it, but it felt good to have a couch cover. I'll say that.
Hell yeah. No, I was looking at I lost the Bengals one for somehow. Oh, there it is. You had 4.5. Ooh.
Yes.
Hard Rock had theirs close at 5.5.
Okay. So I guess we got a little bit of CLV on both. Not a ton.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And Atlanta I gave out at 1.5. That closed 2.5. It wasn't, again, not a best bet. I just said it was a bet I was going to make. Yeah, so there's that too.
Okay. Yeah. No, good week for you for sure. Bad week for me. You only had one wrong. I had 3. We'll go through mine real quick. Not even close. Not even close. We don't even need to go over it. It's so bad, not even close. The hurricane did not factor in last week at all. That little theory was inaccurate. But the games that I gave out as best bets weren't hurricane involved. They were just bad bets. Buffalo at UConn under 45.5. That wasn't even close. I think it ended up being like 70. Specifically. And Eastern Michigan at Kent State was no different either. Under 48 was not even close. I think both of those teams were at probably 65, I think. I don't even know. It was a couch cover for the Vegas is what it was.
Mm-hmm. Big time.
Now, the Saints, the Granderson sack, that was a little closer. I believe Granderson had 3 or 4 quarterback hurries, right? And a Saints player did have a sack, but it was not Carlos Granderson. So that was a big old whiff.
First miss on a sack bet this year, though.
I know. I'm looking for a rebound this week. But, yeah, I thought we would definitely get one, but we didn't. But you had the Cowboys minus 5.5.
That one hurt because that was close.
That was a field goal miss at the end to miss it.
Was it really?
Yes.
See, and I was obviously in a place where I couldn't watch it, so I didn't even know that. That would have hurt worse.
Aubrey, debatably the best kicker in the league, right? Misses a field goal that he would usually make, because all the kickers make them now, to cover. And there was a lot of random numbers out there, right, with the Cowboys game. The two I see here are 5, right? So that would have been a push. Some people had 4.5 out there. You were just on the wrong side of the wrong number.
And it hurts in bettings when it worked that way, especially because 5 is obviously not a key number. So when you get the 5.5 and they win by 5, but bets go the other way too.
That's right.
We'll have bets go the other way too. Where, well, even the Falcons, I got 1.5, they won by 2.
You got to believe that you'll rebound. So anyway, here's our record. Here's the graphic. I'm at 12-10, hanging on. 1-3 week, not great. Well, that's all we'll say. And then 7-0, we're good rebound. You're coming back for 500.
That's right. That's right.
And,
I decided I'd follow you this week though and give 4 best bets just to try to accelerate maybe getting my record back. We'll see.
Okay. I love your ambition. I hope they're good. Yeah, I like it. Let's just dish them out. So 7-9, 12-10 for me. I did not show this. We'll show that. So if you want to follow us on Action, I got most of mine in. There's only one bet that I'm missing. It is the parlays are a little bit harder to do on Action because you got to select them and then select one game and then minimize it and then go find the other and then go to the parlay and then put your corresponding what you got as the odds on that in there. So it's kind of annoying.
It is.
But yeah, so most of mine are in there. Here's the Action. If you're watching us on the YouTube or Facebook recording here for video portion, you got the QR codes here for Action app. You want to follow us. And Joe_Wannabe Pro for me, Corey, and then Alex_Maish for him. So I believe my picture's on there so you could see us, or at least see me. And then, throw us a follow. If you don't remember all of our bets on here specifically. But we can jump right into it. We got a lot. I have another game. So it's going to take us another, 5 or 10 minutes probably going over that one. So let's jump right into it. I do have some stuff. I don't know if you read that article. Did you read that one that I sent you?
Oh, I haven't got to it yet.
Holy smokes.
You know what last night was going on.
Yeah, I know, dude. A couple of snippets here, and I'll just read them off really quick just because obviously you guys don't have the script in front of you. NFL underdogs of 6+ points, and this is this season, by the way. NFL underdogs of 6+ points are now 9-8 straight up. That's insanity.
Wild. Did you know before going into last week, underdogs of 7 or more points were undefeated straight up? If I remember correctly, because the Action podcast that I listened to, so where you got that article, they mentioned that the previous week, underdogs of 7 or more were undefeated straight up.
This is blowing my mind. That's why I immediately hit the share button and sent it to you. And then they're also 14-2-1 against the spread. So these 6+ points underdogs are 87.5% covering.
And this is why everybody is out of their Survivor League and alludes right to the next stat that you're going to share, I think.
It's just insane. I'll keep going. And this is just through the beginning of the year. All right. The betting public, 51% of the tickets are 22, 38, and 2 against the spread this season. So the public, you can count us in that if you'd like.
Although we're doing better, but go ahead.
Yeah. My sack, yeah. I mean, that's why I'm kind of sticking to props because clearly the pandemonium. I mean, you're hearing the stat right now. It's just I have no freaking clue. Underdogs are taking over the world. Anyway, the public, the Joes, the randoms, the people who think that they know everything but they don't, are 22, 38, and 2 against the spread this season. So if you're doing math, a $100 better would be down almost $1,800. It is the worst. I can't believe this. This is pretty nuts. This is the worst start for the betting public through 4 weeks in the last 20 years.
Wow.
20 years. And they had a really good year last year, if you remember correctly, starting out. They were hot last year. They are not now.
And this is usually what drives the betting public away until Thanksgiving. And then they get around friends, family, they deposit more money. But when the public is down this much, usually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the books don't get as much action from the public because they're just like, fuck, I do suck.
Yeah. I mean, well, you lose all your...
all your money, too. Yeah.
Lose all your money and you lose all your... your sign-up bonus money as well.
Yes, that's actually the truth.
Week 1, you got it all and you lost it there, and then you probably deposited more, and then you lost all that too, and you said, I'm done.
Yeah. Maybe the next paycheck, they'll deposit a few more bucks.
The thing is, man, like, you're not losing parlays by 1 or 2 games. You're losing all of them. If that is the record for the public, you ain't getting a text from your boys saying, here's my 7-leg parlay, only 1 missed.
Although I do, so you're exactly right, but I have to say this because my brother had a 7-leg parlay. Let it ride going into the last game. The last game he had, so and to be fair, he said he did buy some points, so it was kind of like a 7-leg teaser almost. But his last leg, he hit his first 6. He had Buffalo plus 7.5. Let it ride. We all know what happened. They lost by 25.
Yep.
So that's the one instance probably, but because otherwise you're spot on. Like we're not getting those texts.
Was that like a DraftKings situation where he could have cashed out?
Yep, and that's what he said. He could have cashed out, I think, plus 700, and it was a pretty big bet. So he could have made a pretty penny on it. Yeah.
Oh, I admire that. See, I admire that. So, like, you're all in, right?
He went for it.
I do. Mm-hmm. I admire that. You're all in. And the Bills are a very respectable team. Josh Allen, obviously, is an MVP candidate. So I respect that.
Yeah.
Tough loss.
I mean, I told him, I said I would have done the same. I would have felt great about that position.
Yeah, that's tough. Anyway, crazy stats. More in that article. I just wrote through those 2 on there. Give quick tidbits so we can keep rolling, but definitely give it a read. Okay, nonetheless, let's kick it off. You have Jets at Vikings, London game. We got early morning football, 9:30 a.m. They did not do NFL London they weren't doing that when you were second year, right?
No, they did because I went to London with the Vikings.
You did?
I did. So I think they were only doing 1 game at that point. It's not like 3 like they are now.
Okay.
So I was fortunate, and we went. We flew there on Monday too, so I got to spend the whole week there.
Yeah, you did what no team does now. At least that's what I've heard. Most of them only go Friday, Saturday, or whatever.
Oh, really? I think there's a difference of opinion on that. I think
really?
Some teams go out. I think there's a split. Some people, you either go very late in the week or you go right away. You don't do like a middle of the week thing.
Wednesday.
My understanding, the analytic driven teams go out early, and then I can't remember because there was one team like even for Brazil that went out very late. Now that's not a time zone difference, so that's different. But I think it's split. I still think there's a split faction in the NFL on that.
Yeah. Anyway, Jets at Vikings. The spread. Oh, here. Sorry, I can put it on our thing. I always forget doing this. If you're on the video portion, I'm supposed to be pulling up the games here so we can all look at it and follow on. Anyway, Jets at Vikings. You got 2.5, pretty much across the board. Minus 2.5 Vikings. I thought this was tough. I did make a bet, but I'm interested to see what you think of the game. The Jets are, I think, and I feel like they're a bit of a mess. I don't know. I just don't think they're very good. Vikings are exceeding expectations. Darnold is exceeding expectations. I don't want to blow up my mic because that's true. So what do you think? I thought this was tough.
Yeah, no, it was tough because I didn't get to catch much of the games last week, right? Didn't get to catch a whole lot.
Yeah, you were not in town.
However, no, I was. I found the one bar in town that had NFL Red Zone. I don't even know how.
Wow.
So I know, it's kind of amazing. I sprinted there once we got back, and then I had to sprint back for something else, but I got to watch 30 minutes. And a lot of what I got to see was the Jets versus the Broncos. I was pretty heavily invested in a teaser leg on that. Lost, obviously. But Aaron Rodgers and his receivers, they're not clicking, man. I mean, I saw pass after pass after pass in the final 4 minutes of that game where Rodgers was throwing to a spot and the receivers are running a different route. There's a big problem. And then I think everybody knows about the cadence thing because Robert Salah came out after the game. This was hilarious. If you don't know, he said, we need to not be so complicated basically with our cadence. That caused the 5 false starts we had and the penalties are killing us. And then Rodgers was asked about it. And he said, this is the same cadence we've had all year. How about we just hold people accountable? Which I love personally. But Salah did back out Wednesday, I guess. I guess Wednesday he had a presser and they asked him and he said, oh no, our cadence is great. It's really funny. You know, you gotta mesh with your quarterback. You can't be fighting with your quarterback. But going back to your original point, I agree Jets are the mess. So here's an interesting stat. International favorites are 30-15 against the spread. Vikings have trailed for a total of 3 minutes all season long. The Vikings have closed as an underdog in every game and won straight up. The Vikings are the first team to start 4-0 with a team total under 8 coming into the year in like 20 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so that's pretty crazy. Like, I don't think a lot of people saw this coming. But I really like their coach. Yeah, so thoughts on the game. I don't have a bet on the side because I feel like the Jets could turn it on at any point. And so I'm just like, I'm scared to do anything because I think the easy side and probably the Joe part of me says take the Vikings here, duh. But I'm waiting for regression. I think regression has to come for the Vikings. That's just how it works. So I didn't want to do that. Interesting thing, too. Kind of a revenge game for Darnold here. A little bit.
I think you got it. I think you have to say yes.
Yeah, because that's
even it's a little bit. It's a yes.
It's a little bit, yeah. So there's that too. Defense, the Jets' defense has not played anybody from an offensive standpoint. Like they're rated first, but I just don't know if that's true. I mean, we got the Titans, the Patriots, the Broncos, outside of that first game against the Niners. So I don't know if their defense is for real. Here's what I think is the most interesting part, and probably the key to the game. Going back to the cadence part for the Jets. The Vikings are a blitz-heavy team. If I remember correctly, that they run blitz on the second highest percentage in the NFL. If the Jets continue to run the clock down under the final 3 seconds, the Vikings are going to be able to time that shit, and they're going to be all over the Jets' ass. So I would hope the Jets mix it up a little bit. Like, I think they have to this week. Because the Vikings have Jordan Addison back. Now, the Jets do have two very good cornerbacks, so I think that could kind of limit it. But when I was looking closer, just going through the team grades, I think the Vikings could probably look to run in this game because their offensive line is grading out pretty damn well, and the Jets' defensive line, outside of Quinnen Williams, there's not much there. Mm-hmm. So again, like everything I'm saying, I'm like, oh, go Vikings. But I just have no interest because I feel like the Jets can turn it on at any point. But I will say, and then I'll pass this up, I do have Jets in a teaser leg. And I know everything I said have gone against that, but I do not see the Vikings running away with this game. And I've talked in other podcasts about motivation factors. And again, I'm waiting for regression from the Vikings, and I think the Jets are going to be very motivated in this game. I don't want to take them at 2.5, so I've got them in a teaser leg. I will discuss that as we continue to go on the next games. But what do you got?
So, a lot of good stuff. Liked it a lot. One of your best we've had since we've been doing the podcast. While you were doing that, I kind of dove into Rodgers' numbers here a little bit more in depth. Last 2 weeks, right? So they had New England week 3, and they had Denver week 4. I would say a little bit on the weaker teams. Mm-hmm. Now, New England's, their strength is generally probably their defense. But total pressures of any kind, so on the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, total pressures of any kind, 17 in week 4, which is his highest, 13 in week 3, which is his second highest, never had more than 5 week 1 and week 2. And the San Francisco 49ers are a good defensive team. So
interesting.
Film showed New England showed it. Denver really went after it, what do we see this week is the question. We have cadence issues. I'm assuming that'll be sorted. This is an NFL team. I'm assuming that'll be sorted out, but it's not a good thing to hear. Okay. It's going to be interesting. Now, he did have some drop passes last week. He did not have any drop passes week 3 versus New England.
Okay.
But I think that'll improve. I'm just talking in a general sense. Rodgers and his receivers, I think that'll improve. It's a natural progression. The more you play with your players, you'll get better. Anyway, the pressure thing really stood out. I just wanted to throw that out there.
But that's a good point because the Vikings are, they're going to take advantage of that.
You said they're highest blitzing, one of the highest blitzes teams in the league. A lot of pressures last 2 weeks. I'm assuming you would like to think it only goes up or stays around that 17 number. Jets are 2-7 in the last 9 as underdogs straight up in this matchup. So,
versus the Vikings or
yes.
What do you? Okay.
Yep. So, not promising there. So you kind of threw out some London stats a little bit earlier. The under has hit in 4 straight London games.
Ooh, can I? Yeah, that is. Can I back that up real quick?
Yes.
Because there was one nugget I forgot to put.
Okay.
The majority of the money, I don't have it pulled up right now, but I want to say it was it's over 80% of the money is on the over.
Okay.
But the line has moved from 40.5 to 40.
Okay.
So that goes along with what you were saying. I felt like it was a good time to put that in.
Yes. Yeah. The favorite, and the spread's pretty close. Sorry, I had it up there. The favorite's the Vikings, depending on what you get it at. The favorite for money line is 21-11 in London games. I almost said London games. 21-11. The favorite is 21-11. Straight up, just the favorite. It's 21-11 in London games. So,
okay.
Coming off a straight up loss, Salah has a losing record, just all time. It's not a landslide. He just does. Okay. It's London. I looked up the weather. Typical London bullshit. Cloudy, a little crazy. High, 60% humidity range. Over 10-mile-an-hour winds. Now, the 2 stats of bang there is the under is hitting 4 straight London games, and the weather's over 10 miles an hour. We've talked before personally. 10's not a huge shift, and I'll bet hammer the under. But if you're an under guy, I think that helps you believe in that more. And taking a look at this, this favors the Jets. But besides Stephen Gilmore, the CBs for the Vikings aren't very good. They're kind of shitty. And I would like to say that the chemistry and working with the receivers specifically, the Garrett Wilsons, right, is trending upwards for Rodgers and the receivers. Now, obviously, the cadence shit, that might be trending downwards and the pressures, but it's something to consider there. Just based off of favorites and where this positioning, and I fully believe that the Vikings are a better team. 21-11 favorites are. I am a Vikings money line guy here.
Okay. Got
to decide what your number is. I think minus 140 is a meh, and that's what I got it at. As you can see here, there's a minus 138. There's even at DraftKings a minus 148 flying around out there. Okay. I don't like it anything over 150. I think it's just no value there, but I don't know if you have a preference. But this is a tough. I said this was a tough game, and this is a tough game. This is not a best bet.
Yeah, no, you're right. After I looked into it too. Well, after I looked into it too, that's where I'm like, man, I'm really favoring the Vikings, but then I'm just like, Vikings are due for regression, and Jets are due for positive regression, and that's where it's like I can't do that. And this is very much a pro versus Joe game. And going back to your stat that you threw out early on in the podcast, so the Jets are taking the majority of the cash, the Vikings are taking the majority of the tickets. I want to fade the fucking public here. So again, that would lean towards the Jets, but everything else wants to push me towards the Vikings. So that's why I feel better with the Jets at a teaser. I think they can keep it within a score, and that's what I have. I'll give the other leg out here in a minute.
Yep. Okay. That's all I have on Jets versus Vikings. I don't have any great notes. If you have anything on that.
That's it.
Okay.
I like it.
Bills at Texans. We have, sorry, I can type it in here. You have Texans +1 there. Oh, let me just lose that really quick. And then let's see what we got it here on the Action Labs. Yep, still 1.5 if you're a FanDuel guy or a gal. I thought this game was incredibly tough to research. I literally gave up. It was so hard. I have very minor tidbits, but really nothing of girth. But I'm interested to see what you have. Go ahead.
I actually have 2 bets on this game. 2 best bets on
Wow,
this game.
hit me. I'd love to hear them.
Well, here's the thing. I have half the notes I had on the Jets-Vikings game because it's like, so I'm on the Bills here at -1.
Okay.
And that's a best bet, but the handicap is very simple for this one. Bills are in a bounce back spot, I think. They got destroyed versus the Ravens. I think it's a bounce back spot. And for the Texans, I have been so unimpressed all year. So unimpressed. I know they're winning games. I know they're 3-1. They're 0-4 ATS this year. I just don't like it, man. I think teams studied and figured something out with Stroud, and something is off with the Texans defense. I mean, the fact that the Jaguars had every chance to win that game last week. I mean, Jaguars are a bad football team. I'm sorry. They are a bad football team. Trevor Lawrence is a bad quarterback. So this is pretty simple from that handicap, right? I don't have a lot of nuggets. Again, this is kind of a feel spot for me, not going deep. But I talked last week about how the Bills struggle covering the middle of the field, and that's why I was on the Ravens last week. So that goes into my second bet on this game. So the Bills have allowed the second most receptions to the slot receiver. The slot receiver for the Houston Texans is Stephon Diggs. Also a revenge game. Now that doesn't factor into that bet, but maybe the Texans want to feed him more. Even if they don't, if they watch film and they actually look at data, they're going to understand the way to attack this Bills defense is in the middle of the field with your slot receiver. So my other best bet on this game is Stephon Diggs over 51.5 receiving yards. I looked at the receptions number. That's where I wanted to go, but it's 5.5 out there. I don't like that. I think he could get something and break free for a couple bigger ones because he can make these safeties and these linebackers I think he can avoid those guys. So I lean towards the receiving yards versus the reception. But that's, I don't think you're wrong. That's basically what I have in this game.
Yeah. So, oh man, this is insane. So I don't know if they got, and I do see someone from the secondary on the Bills side, is banged up, but when they play nickel, they have a dude that's completely fresh out there, Taron Johnson. He only played week 1 and he only played a total of 7 snaps.
Oof.
And he was graded horribly. So big yikes. Yeah, that's definitely glaring as shit. Someone's going to go off, whether it's technically in terms of grade, the best receiver in the NFL, Nico Collins, or it could also be obviously a very good player in Diggs as well. I would assume one of the best corners in the league, Christian Benford's probably going to be on Nico probably the whole time. So
Yep.
I don't know if you're a Tank Dell guy, but right, you got somebody out there that they got to throw the ball to. Now, Stroud's received a lot of pressure this year, brother. We just kind of went over with Aaron Rodgers and how he's been increasing on pressures. Stroud's had it all year, man. 12, 15, 13. He gets a lot of pressure. Now, he doesn't get a lot of drops, not a ton, but it's a lot of pressure dropping back. So it's going to be interesting to see how that evens out, right? I don't have a ton, but the first note you did say really kind of I'll jump on that with the number that I found, okay?
Okay.
McDermott has a winning record against the spread after a straight-up loss.
Okay, love that. So
you had that earlier. Under McDermott with the Bills, this matchup between these two teams, and there hasn't been a ton. I think they've only played like 5 times ever, but I was just saying under McDermott because McDermott's been there for a while now. This matchup is hit under every time. It's hit under the total every time.
with McDermott.
With McDermott specifically.
Good
McDermott's
nugget.
been there, what's he at, 7 years? Gosh, I shouldn't have said that because I act like I know something.
Or more. I mean,
or
I feel
more.
like-
Here, I'll bring it up really quick. 8. Gosh, I was so close. He's at 8. And he's been there 7 completed, but he's on 8. But yeah.
Okay. That counts as a win, dude. Got it. Nailed it.
Houston, you already said 0-4 against the spread. I mean, that's obvious. Both teams, this is key. If you look at their strength of team, both of these teams grade pretty high in power rankings. But if you look at their strength of schedule, it's at the bottom on both sides. Bills are at the 28th. Texans are at 26th. Neither team has really played anybody. Baltimore has struggled this year. I'm assuming that would be the best. Well, stop that. Well, I don't have a Cards. I'm a Cardinals guy. But
You love the 1-3. Love them.
damn it. Baltimore is the best team that they have faced. But so yes, this will be maybe kind of a benchmark test for both teams but kind of like you said and alluded to, the Texans do have their own problems. That's all the research I have. I thought this was incredibly tough. I love maybe a prop look here. More that I looked into that, I was digging that some more. They have a lot of randos that are going to be out there for the Bills D. That really scares me.
Yeah.
DeJuan Smoot, an edge rusher's only played the last 2 weeks. He's graded horribly. We got another linebacker that they've thrown in. He hasn't played since week 2. Bernard, and he wasn't even grading that well. So dude, this is crazy. I don't know. I would definitely.
And Von Miller's out too. Just got suspended for.
That's right.
Yeah, just got suspended, so he's out too.
Yeah. So like I just said, I don't even know. This matchup is hit under every time, but the Bills' defense is losing. They have a lot of random guys in there, which really concerns me. This is all over the place.
I got you. Hey, I hear you. That's why this is a big fill spot for me, right? And it's a bounce back spot for the Bills. And I the more I think about it, I like that Stephon Diggs because you said it. Like they're probably going to put that best corner on Nico Collins.
Yep.
So then who do they go to? And the Bills all year are rated second for allowing the most receptions to the slot. And Stephon Diggs lines up in the slot for the majority of his snaps.
And the Bills haven't played anybody.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's one way to consider attacking it, you know?
Yep. So, cool. Love it. All right. Ravens at Bengals. You have 2.5. Pinnacle has it at plus 2.5 as well. So does Hard Rock. So pretty much I'll bring it up here. Pretty much 2.5 all around. I do have actually some pretty good notes on this one.
Okay.
It seems like I don't know if it's because of our Bengals heritage. I think I'm saying that right. Is that why we have the Bengals a lot in our topics of conversation?
Have we had them a lot?
I feel like it. We have. No?
Probably so. I know we've had the Ravens and the Bills a lot too. I was thinking about that after I picked these games.
Maybe we're division heavy there, Maybe that division because I got a Browns coming up now too. Maybe I'm just hitting that division. That was unintentional.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. What do you got here? Big rivalry game, basically, obviously.
It's a huge rivalry game. But you say that though, and I didn't put the Chiefs in here because I'm like, I don't want to be a homer. But I think I've only talked about them 1 week, and maybe talked about the Bengals 3 weeks, and I'm like, shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I should talk about the Chiefs more because I do not have any affinity towards the Bengals. You know that I do not like that team.
I know.
But there were some spots I really liked in this game. So there's a couple more picks I have in this game. So as I first started thinking about this game, I look historically, and the Ravens have played the Bengals tough, man. They always play them tough, I feel like. If you remember a couple years ago in the playoffs, the Bengals had Tyler Huntley at quarterback because Lamar Jackson had gotten hurt. The game was tied in the fourth quarter, late in the fourth quarter, and the Bengals were inside the Ravens, were inside the Bengals 10-yard line, about to go up 7. And there was a fumble, and the Bengals took it all the way to the house. And then they proceeded to make the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. I look at like a lot of games, and it's like, man, I really like how the Ravens match up against the Bengals. However, the Bengals lost 2 weeks offensively ever since they got T. Higgins back, and I think Jamar Chase has kind of got his legs underneath him because he didn't show up to training camp because he's a fucking diva. That offense has been rolling, man. The problem has been the defense. We talked about that during the Washington game because we were invested, from our survivor standpoint. And I even had the Bengals in a teaser that game. The problem was their defense, right? Their offense, I feel like, has been clicking. I mean, they put up 33 against Washington, 34 against the Panthers, and what the Bengals do best is throw the football. What the Ravens have not shown that they're able to do this year is defend the pass. They haven't. The Chiefs ate them up the first week. The Raiders came from behind in the fourth quarter, through the air, and attacked them and ate them up. Obviously, they stopped the Bills last week, but that's one data point, right? Over the 4 games, I think they've been pretty weak against the pass. So I think the Bengals are going to have some success here offensively. On the flip side, the Ravens want to run the football. They've made that clear the last 2 weeks now. Derrick Henry is straight eating. You go into this game, the Bengals, their problem is their defensive line. It's been really bad. People have just been able to do whatever they want on them. The Bengals are getting reinforcements this week. I'm not saying they're getting beaters back, but who do they get? They get B.J. Hill and then one of their edge rushers back. So they're getting reinforcements on the defensive line. Do I think they're going to stop the Ravens? I don't. I think the Ravens are still going to have some success on the ground here. But on the flip side, I think the Bengals are going to have some success through the air. So where I'm at on this game, I considered the over, and I said, I don't know. If the Ravens are going to run a lot, that does not support an over ticket. And I think the line is like at 49.5. So I'm like, I don't like that. So I go look at team totals. Bengals are at 23.5. I do like that because even if they get in a script where they're behind, they're going to have to start airing it out. So I'm on the Bengals team total over 3.5 here. And then going back to the first game that we talked about, I'm teasing the Bengals up with the Jets. So I've got them both at plus 8.5. You give me a division game. Typically, we know division games are going to be tighter. These teams know each other extremely well. They play twice a year, every single year. The coaches know each other well. That lends itself towards a closer game. So that's where I'm out of the game. I got the Bengals teased with the Jets, and then I've got the Bengals team total over 23.5. But that's all I got.
Backed with your teaser plays.
You're right, baby. I couldn't let him go forever.
Are you keeping any numbers on your? What you said you're trying to do some motivational plays this year? Is that a research experiment? Or are you just doing it personally, winging it?
So I haven't. I need to track it, but I know I'm up on them. I do know I'm up on them.
Oh, okay. I was just curious myself. I don't know.
Yeah, no, but I need to you're right though. I need to actually keep a record. Because that was the whole point. I kind of wanted to test the theory this year. Yeah. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to give that to us.
Okay.
Next week.
Yeah, but give us something. Okay. Very similar stuff, but I got a really good one here. Last seven matchups between the Cincinnati Bengals, Baltimore Ravens. Last 7. The under has only hit 1 time.
Wow, that is surprising.
Yeah. So over of the last 7 matchups. So that goes all the way back to 2021 specifically. Actually, no. Yes, 2020. 2020 was the second game in 2020. Would be the 7th game, if you want to count that. Okay. Ravens have won 3 in a row. I would love to think there'd be a motivational factor there for the Bengals. 3 in a row in a divisional game like this. Plot twist, before that one, the Bengals won 4 in a
row. Nice.
Just to let you know that one. This blew my mind. I wanted to look into it more, but it'd take me a little bit more time. The last 2 seasons, so just talking 2 seasons for the Bengals, 23 and 22. The Bengals have only been a home dog twice. Total.
Wow.
Pretty crazy. Burrow being banged up and shit kind of threw me for a loop. So that kind of was kind of nuts. Anyway,
damn.
The Ravens have one of the worst safeties in the league. Can't be trusted. Their DBs are good though. Their cornerbacks are pretty good. Mm-hmm. We all know about the Bengals. The Bengals defense in general. I know they get a D lineman black, but their secondary, the Daniels had a fun time with that. We all know what he did. Just based on the trend here of over-unders, I do lean toward the over, but like you said, it feels a little high. I see some spots have 48.5, 49 here. I got it up on the screen. That scares me a lot. And you know how I'm big on the wind. The wind's still sitting around 10. Now, the wind didn't mean shit in college football last weekend, so who knows what the hell that means. But so this is kind of, I do still like the over based on defenses. But like you said, both these coaches know each other. People are coming back for the Bengals. This could be an old-fashioned dogfight. Same old shit. And I love, you're kind of with those motivational plays. Bro, 4 in a row. That's what they're going for. Ravens are going for 4 in a row on the Bengals. That's pretty nuts. And the Bengals, I feel like you were kind of on this last week. I was kind of harping on them. I say they're definitely one of the worst teams in the league. If they're 0-3, blah, blah, blah. I would like to say, even after a Panthers win, I'm going to go with the trend up.
Yeah,
I'm going to give you the trend up symbol. So that's all I got.
Sorry.
It's tough.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, well, to go right to the motivational thing, I didn't even hit on this.
Okay.
The Bengals are 1-3.
Yeah.
Division game, this is massive for them. Massive.
Turn your season.
Massive.
Turn your season.
They have to win this game. They do. So that just kind of supports, that, because I forgot to hit on that.
Is this a best bet? Did I miss it? Was it a best bet for you?
Yes. So the best bet was the team total over 23.5 for the Bengals, and then the teaser leg with the Jets on the Bengals. Yep.
Yeah. One thing I did notice. This is just a throw out for some quick glances. This is not. You don't have to take a look. Slot percentage at the lining up T Higgins week 3, which he was just meh, right? Three receptions, 39 yards, only 6 targets. Lined up in the slot, 12.2%.
Okay. Well, he's more of an outside guy, isn't he? He's a big guy.
Yes. 6'4",
okay.
219.
Okay.
But I did also notice the very next game, lined up in the slot, 25%, had 9 targets for 6 receptions.
Wow.
Now, with that said, this is the Panthers, not a very good team in the roster in general, but I don't know if that is a trend that you're possibly looking towards maybe in the future. Because he had a considerable amount of less snaps played in the past versus the Panthers than he did the Redskins, and he had a better game.
Interesting.
41 passing snaps versus the Redskins. Obviously, they were down. They got to throw the ball, right?
Yep.
Lined up in the slot, only 12.2%. Carolina, winning the game, pretty much had a handle on it. It did get close-ish, but they had a handle on it. But he had less passing snaps, but had more slot percentage, and better game. Better game.
So maybe there's something going on there.
Yeah,
that's where it's hard to judge, right?
Yeah.
Because do you know the total percentage of plays that he was on the field for pass plays in those past 2 games? Do you know that? Because even if it was less snaps, what if they threw it less?
Percentage of snaps, he was on the field for 75% of snaps.
Okay.
In the last game versus the Panthers.
Okay.
87% of snaps versus the Commandos.
That is hard. That's hard. I forgive you. That's interesting though because you would think coming back, okay, yeah, if he's not, he's 75% the first game, and then you would think he ramps up. So it's interesting that he went down but got more action. I don't know what to make of that, but it's an interesting stat.
Better grade. Obviously, since he had a better game, better grades all around, right? It's going to be interesting to see how they're going to play him. Now, the Ravens obviously are much better secondary teams in terms of depth. I just looked that up while we were talking. When they're in nickel, they have some depth at the corner position. Now, their safety's terrible. Williams is one of the worst safeties in it. Marcus Williams is one of the worst safeties in the league. Out of Utah, but their corners are fine.
Yeah, right. Because Kyle Hamilton's good too. You know what's interesting? So it's really, I think teams are attacking Marcus Williams because they're getting burnt through the air. But what's interesting too, they're also attacking Roquan Smith. Roquan Smith the past 4 years has been an elite linebacker. And the Chiefs specifically targeted him too, with Rashee Rice over the middle.
Yeah.
And then I went and looked at his player grades, and he is graded poorly. And I'm like, did this guy fall off a cliff? What happened?
Yeah.
Like, what happened there? I don't know.
Yeah.
I got nothing. It's just, yeah.
He played the least amount of snaps that he's played all year last week. So week 4. And
yeah.
He's interested to see if it bounce back. Okay, next game we have. It's like a little two-parter on the notes. It's a little two-parter because I'm in fantasy this year. I joined a random league where you pay money to join. Randos, $25 entry.
Hell yeah!
I don't know. I just wanted to get in one, so I did it on Yahoo and just did an entry. Okay, Browns at Redskins. I'll make it quick on my part. I'll lead this one off. I started looking at it. I liked it more and more and more as I looked into it. Jerry Jeudy. I feel like he's really kind of catching on here. I do. If you look at PFF grades, he is their best receiver, which is pretty nuts. He is their best receiver. And Deshaun Watson has been coming along in terms of performance. Okay. Now, I can't say the same about the sacks, but he's coming along in performance. Judy's been grading out as their best wide receiver. He's going against one of the worst corners in the league this week. And if you look at their last games in terms of the Commanders, I actually put Redskins in the notes. I'm so sorry. If you look at the Commanders, the Bengals, they were passing a lot, but that was kind of the Bengals saying, okay, we kind of have our passing offense down. Okay. Jerry Jeudy's over-under receiving yards is 43.5. And that game, the Bengals alone had 3 above that. Their number one receiver, as in every team that the Commanders have played, the opposing team's number one receiver has had a very solid to great game. Jamar Chase had a great game versus them. I don't know if it's official, but he could be at some point. Jeudy is maybe their number one. I would say Amari Cooper still is at this time, but Jeudy is grading out as that. Amari Cooper sitting at 49.5 receiving yards. Judy's at 43.5. So they're a passing team when they're down. So that kind of goes with who do you think's going to win the game factor, maybe that you take this. Okay. Because we were just talking about this pre-show. The Browns let up a shit ton of sacks.
So bad.
It's so bad. I don't know what the sacks allowed record is, but I'm assuming they could touch it. I mean, we had 6 sacks allowed week 1, and then we had 8 sacks allowed 2 weeks ago. Versus the Giants, specifically. Jeudy, this season alone, in every game, has had no less than 6 targets. So 6 targets or more in every game.
I love that because I look at targets over receptions.
I do too.
So that's great. Yep.
So last week, I thought Deshaun Watson looked better. We're going against one of the worst corners in the league. They're a passing team because they've been losing. 43.5 is not a lot, especially because Judy's had some big catches in terms of long passes, big catches this year. It's possible you get it in one catch. But he has had some little bit of a dud, but that's what you're going to get out of rookies, right? I'm not rookies, but new team really didn't show a lot with the Broncos, obviously because they sucked. But you know what I'm saying. I think he's trending up. I'm going to ride this up wave.
I love it. You talked me into it. Can I add one more thing, too?
Please do.
Washington has one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
They haven't played anybody and they haven't stopped anybody. Like Jaden Daniels is carrying that team, so that just factors into it more. And maybe Washington's going to score too, which does force it. So I mean, when you factor in the bad defense that they're going against, and Jeudy probably more still in a point in his career where he's ascending versus Amari Cooper is going the opposite direction. I'm a big fan, man. Glad you brought that up.
Okay, yeah. I have Keenan Allen as well. Who would you play? Keenan Allen does have the Carolina Panthers this week. Who you playing, Jeudy or Allen? Number one receiver for the Bears.
I'm still playing Keenan Allen.
Wow,
Top of my head, he's a target monster. I think he's always been the like the safe guy to go to for the quarterback because he's an elite route runner still, which is crazy. Like 10 years into his career.
Yeah.
So personally, I'm still going Keenan Allen. Were you surprised by that?
A tad, because Caleb Williams kind of sucks, or he does suck. And Keenan Allen's been injured, which does concern me. He did play last week, but didn't set the world on fire by any stretch.
Yeah, I think kind of like you're saying, the Bengals, you think are going this way? I think Caleb Williams is a little bit going this way. I don't love him yet.
Okay.
But I think he's showing a little bit more.
They cover the spread, man. He covers the spread.
They have, yeah. What are they, 3-1 ATS this year?
Yeah, he's an ATS machine. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hasn't looked good doing it, but
nope.
He gets there, I guess.
No, but Keenan Allen will be fine. I just don't know if he's healthy yet is the question. That's kind of the...
Do you have a snap percentage from last week? Because it could be a situation where they're ramping him up, and this week he's going to be a full go.
Snap percentage from last week, I could probably pull it up or try to. Yes, 48%.
Okay, so that's so he was clearly very much in a ramp up.
Yep, percentage of snaps. Yep, 48%. He actually is listed as the slot at this time.
Yeah, which I think makes sense.
Actually,
that makes sense.
Let me rebuttal with that. Every single snap was in the slot last week. So that is accurate.
Oh, okay. Let me throw a quick one at you just while we're on the Bears.
Okay.
You starting DJ Moore or Brian Thomas Jr. for the Jaguars versus the Colts?
Oh, man.
According to this, they're like projected to get like the same amount of points.
And who'd you say it was? Thomas?
Brian Thomas with the Jags. So he's a rookie, but he's kind of become their number one guy too. And I think the Colts defense kind of allows a lot, so I'm torn on it. So since you brought that other one up.
I'll just give you a little insight on response to that. I have the Jags beating the Colts this week.
Do you? Okay.
If the Colts play Anthony Richardson, they'll beat him.
So it's based on if Anthony Richardson plays.
I mean, Flacco... he doesn't age. I don't really know what to say.
His arm doesn't age.
The dude walks out and wins ball games. So Brian Thompson, best game last week for Shao, and played the least amount of snaps he's played all year.
Oh, really?
Played the least amount of snaps he's played all year. Did lead. It was his highest slot percentage snaps all year. So, dude. Trevor Lawrence has got to bounce back at some point. You know,
you would think. I don't know. Based on that just being on the field percentage, I like DJ Moore, man, because also maybe Keenan Allen opens him up a little bit more. Maybe he takes targets away. I don't know, but
I was gonna say last 2 weeks, Brian Thomas Jr. has 9 targets each game. Last 2 weeks.
Okay, that's good though.
Yeah. Yeah. So so it seems like they're starting to, integrate him more, into their offense. So that's something to think about. And last week, DJ Moore only received 5 targets, but he had 10 and 10 the week before that, or, each 2 weeks before that. So he's trending down. Brian Thomas is trending up. And with Keenan Allen back, is that what are we going to take targets away? You just said you just gave Keenan Allen some love.
I did.
It's another week healthy, another week in the right direction. It's tough, bro.
So I had Brian Thomas plugged in. That's who I had plugged in before I asked you the question.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, we can move on. I thought that was another pretty close one.
All right, let's dive into college football here a little bit. I love this first one: South Alabama and Arkansas State. This is we're in the conference play, so it could get messy. If I was a bettor, I recommend this. And it could be SEC, it could be Big Ten, and it could be Mountain West if you're a Mountain West person. There's a lot of games, and a lot of these teams play each other regularly now at this point, right? Pick a conference and be good at it. That's just the way to go.
I know that's your skill, man. You keep rocking it.
I'll try to. But I did see something stick out. Just a general sense. I have under 30.5 first half, over under in this game. Okay. Arkansas State, first half this season, 13 points, 7 points, 3 points, and 0 points.
Wow.
Way different second half. Final total, you wouldn't know it. Okay. South Alabama is a little different, but if you take out the Northwestern State game, there's a slight trend, just slight, right? We have 19-10, 28, and then a 3. 28 was versus App State. So South Alabama has a lower trend as well. So, and it's a conference matchup. So those games are usually, they know each other a little bit better, right? The talent level is generally the same. And South Alabama just played LSU, got beat up a little bit, right? Got beat up real bit, a little bit. And last year, first half, so South Alabama, Arkansas State play each other every year. Last year, first half, 14-3.
Nice.
Okay, so 17 points compared to 30.5. I got to get under this year. Year before that was 16-3. So there's another one.
Wow. Okay.
The over in this matchup, the last 8 times, has only hit twice. So the over in this matchup has only hit twice in the last 8 matchups.
Have these teams been in the same conference for a while then?
Yes.
I apologize, I do not know this. Okay.
Yes. And I just looked at last night. 87% of the cash is on the under.
That's what I was going to bring that up. Yeah.
So I like that here a lot, just because Arkansas State's really struggling on offense, and South Alabama, last week in the first, this is LSU, but last week in the first quarter, they were down 21-0.
Oof.
Mm-hmm.
That is LSU, but that's this can be do you think this can be a letdown game when you're coming off playing a big opponent?
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously, I'm assuming you would get up for that game, but at the same token, this is where you make your money as a coach, right? It's conference time. This is a new season. I don't know if you want to phrase it like that, but right, it's time to get serious. That's why I kind of like the underplay. Just thought it was a little high, and especially because both of these teams seem to figure it out in the second half. So I'm banking on first half trying to figure it out. And just not scoring a lot. Now, the only kicker is South Alabama does have a new coach. Butch Jones is returning for Arkansas State. Okay. Appalachian State's defense sucks. So because I don't know if you remember, they ended up scoring, or Clemson put up, what was it, like 80 on them or something?
Oh, God, yes.
It was insane. It was like 70-20. I don't even know. Either way, Appalachian State sucks, and defensively, Northwestern State, that's the FCS team. So if you just go with teams around their level, right, North Texas and Ohio, South Alabama only has 19 points in the first half. At Ohio was only 10 points. They're on the road this week, right? So if you're going on the road, LSU, they only had 3 points at half. At Ohio, they only had 10 points at half. Arkansas State, in the first half, hasn't reached above 13 all year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I saw that cash in that ticket percentage. My first thing is like, is it just the ticket percentage? It is not. There is still the cash percentage is still higher on the under. And on PFF, I never see this. Okay. Maybe you do. Okay. I never see this. They have a 3.2% edge on the under. I never see value like that. Normally it's like 1%, 1.5%, 2 maybe. So they love the under. And
I did not know it was that high. I did not know it was that high.
Yeah. Okay. But obviously you gave so many stats to support the first half under. I think that makes way more sense.
Yeah, I'm usually a general under guy, full game, but seeing some of these second half jumps here really kind of scared me, how much they kind of get after it. Like North Texas, the game ended up being 38-52. And the first half was 19-14.
Wow.
See,
I feel like a lot of pro bettors target first half unders, and I think this is why.
Yeah.
Hope so. That's good.
Okay.
Yeah. Just one other thing, because I like, if you're also looking at unders, like I like looking, okay, what is our big time throw percentage and turnover worthy throw percentage?
Yeah.
Very low big time throw percentage for Arkansas State. Not doing it often. South Alabama, a little bit up there.
Yeah.
They both have a decent amount of turnover worthy play percentage, around 3-4%, which if people don't look at that often, you see 2% or something like that. I'd say that's pretty average. I don't know if you have thoughts on that. So it's not terrible actually for the turnover worthy play. But just something else. I think it kind of supports the under.
Yeah. I went first half. So
in first, yes.
That's my best bet. That's one I really like.
Okay.
This next one, I think could be a really good game in general, but at the same token, Ohio State's probably, definitely a top 2, top 3 team in the country. So that's why obviously they're going to remain supreme here. Oh, sorry, I could flip this over to NCAA. I have Iowa at Ohio State. Sorry, I was going to bring this up. There you go. I don't have a game on the spread because, again, it's a conference matchup. It's always kind of weird with that stuff. You usually like to think higher spreads favors the underdog here because they know the team well. Both these coaches have been at these schools for a very long time. So therefore they should know each other. But one thing I did notice, okay, we're very used to Iowa always just having a good fucking D, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's all we know is Iowa plays D, can't score. Plays D, can't score. Okay, it really hasn't been that way. Now, I know they haven't really played anybody, right? But they did play Iowa State, and they were up 13-0 against Iowa State. I actually had the under in that game, and it snuck at the very last second to hit the over, funny enough, in that game. Because that game hits under every year.
Every year.
Freaking year.
And I bet the first half hit the under, too.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Because all the points were in the fourth quarter.
That's exactly right. So... but this team can score some points this year. And Ohio State has been known to let up some yards. Marshall kind of competed with them for a little bit, threw for a little bit, actually drove the ball on them some, right? And also, Iowa put up 31 points on Minnesota. Yes, Minnesota is not a Big Ten team that's going to compete for anything, right? I get that. I'm just saying we're used to Iowa winning 10-7, 10-3, right? That's kind of our
Correct.
MO. They're off a bye week, so that could. I think bye weeks you kind of get some numbers there, but they obviously do get some peek at Ohio State. Okay, let me look at my notes here. So I was just going to say they have one of the best running backs in the country, but so does Ohio State. So they're also going to dominate both sides of the ball in terms of running. The under, the last 8 matchups, I've been saying a lot of last 8, last 7, last 8, last 7, because that's usually the most recent, right? Last 8 matchups, the under has only hit twice.
Wow.
In this game.
Wow.
Last 8 matchups. Weather's perfect. No wind involved here. And Iowa's 4-over on the over this year. Obviously,
Are they really?
Yeah, a late one there versus Iowa State. And Ohio State at home is 3-0. They're 3-1 on the year, but they're 3-0 at home. 3-0 at home on the over. Iowa's 4-0 total. I have over 46.5. It has jumped at some books. Sorry, I could flash this up here. But that's my bet. Oh, we went under some. Okay.
I was going to say you have 46.5 on
I
over?
do.
Interesting. Now we're at 45.5. Is that right? Is that what you're saying?
Yep. That's what we got. So here's my thing on that. My thing is they see Iowa and you automatically think under. So people automatically hit it. I'd love to see what this is on Saturday. Love to.
Well, I love looking at this stuff right here. So the under has 64% of the cash, only 27% of the tickets, right? So you think, oh, okay, well, the pros are coming in and they're taking the under. However, the line, from what I am seeing, this total opened at 44.5.
Okay.
And now we're at 45.5. So it's being moved up when the majority of the cash is on the under, but yet the line's moving up. So again, this says, okay, so respected money, maybe not the biggest money, but the most respected money is hitting the over here.
I'd love to see it on Saturday. Does that shit?
I know you would.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Just a lot of things. I thought, here's the thing. I try to go unbiased, but when I saw Ohio State, I go under. Right? That's what you always think. Ohio State's defense is very good. Iowa's defense is very good. These two coaches know each other. But the more I started looking into it, I was like, okay, they both have very good, respectable offenses. They run well. Literally, they run the offense well, and they run well. They're successful all the time. And their defenses do let up some shit. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe, Now, the only kicker is, the spread is a little high. right? And it could be interesting to see if Ohio State starts to rout them, how that gets interesting with the over. You know what I mean? Do they just start running? I don't know. I don't want to go too deep into it, but I have over 46.5. We'll see what the number is on Saturday.
Okay, yeah. I think you made some good points.
Okay, I got a real tough one next.
What do you got?
I'm all over the place with it. Phil Steele actually hates my pick in terms of his computer. I have that as my last note. Now it's my first note. And I don't. None of his bets are my best bets. I guess I had Illinois written down, and he ended up having Illinois as well, so that kind of sucks. When that was my ROI percent, the money line over Kansas, that ended up being kind of whatever. This game's going to be awesome. It's great for the state in terms of like interest, but even if you just like football, this came out. What did it open as a pick'em? I think. At least that's what I saw. Oh, sorry. I think
that's even showing you UCF -1 as an open. That's what I'm seeing.
Oh, really? Okay, so I saw a pick'em on Monday specifically, and it's jumped all the way to 2.5 UCF. I saw some threes floating around out there, but nonetheless, it's 2.5. It's what we're showing here.
I'm sorry, it was actually Florida that opened -1. My bad.
Okay. So a big shift. We have a big shift here. They played each other in a bowl game not that long ago. UCF did come out victorious there. That was in Tampa, so I don't know if you want to call that neutral site. It's probably about the same distance, Gainesville, whatever, but big bowl game. Plus UCF cared more, right? Florida making a dinky bowl, they don't give a shit. But so that you know, UCF has beaten them and it has happened. This game could be a game of the hot seats. Could be. Billy Napier will be fired if they lose.
Really?
I think so, yes. Because this loss to Colorado looked terrible for UCF.
It was bad.
Yeah, and then obviously, they come back and beat them at the Swamp. Oh, man. That's a bad look. Also, Gus Malzahn on the other side. UCF, with the territory they're in, I would like to think they expect to be in the higher echelon of the conference. After getting embarrassed at home to Colorado, I don't know if he gets fired, but it's definitely a hot seat in my opinion. I could be off here. But, bringing in KJ Jefferson and having one of the a running back that will be drafted in the NFL, RJ Harvey, I do believe that they think they have a quality team. So to lose against a Gator team, that's probably the worst. No, you can't say that. A very poor Gator team. And every year they have a top defense. They could have a shitty offense. We've seen them have poor offenses. But their defense is always great. Edge rusher, stuff like that. They have a terrible defense this year. They're not any good on the defensive side of the ball either. So I think they expect to win. And it doesn't help when you're now favored. I'm talking about Gus Malzahn in the hot seat game that we're going to talk about here. If you're favored, you're expected to win.
Yes.
So if they go in and lose, it's going to be tough on his job.
You think so? So hold on.
Yep.
You said if Billy Napier loses because this is a game historically they should win, and they're at the Swamp, he gets fired. But you also said the same about Gus Malzahn. Am I getting that correct?
Yeah.
Oof. Okay. This is a high leverage game.
That's what I think. I mean, Florida expects to be. Let's be real here. Florida believes their job, their head coaching position, is a top 5 coaching position in college football. They believe that.
Yes. Oh, 100% they believe that. Yes.
It's easily to say they're not even that in the SEC.
Oh, no, they're probably not. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
And that tells you how far they have fallen from grace here.
Man, and it's been a few years too. It's not like 100%. This is just like a 1-year thing.
Yeah.
And man, this is going to be a very interesting game.
Very. 7:45, the latest SEC kick this weekend for a home team, I should say.
Yeah.
So anyway,
I'm excited to watch this.
It'll be good, man, and it'll be back and forth, I think.
Yeah. Well, UCF runs the shit out of the football. That's the first glaring thing to me. 61% of their plays are. I about exited out there on accident. Oof, that was scary. 61% of their plays are run plays. That does not happen in college football anymore. Yeah. I know they have KJ Jefferson. I know he's a running guy. You don't bring him over to throw the football a lot. But man, yeah, they're gonna try to grind the game down. So when I look at the total, this is just a real quick thing here. Mm-hmm. It's a Pro Joe split on the over/under. majority of tickets on the under, majority of cash on the over. And where have we gone with the market? The market went up high. So they are following. So it is the cash. So they're respecting the cash, I guess is what I'm saying on the over under. Do you have any looks there, or are you on UCF here?
Yeah, so I got a couple things. It's just a kind of a mess. Phil Steele's computer has Florida winning straight up. His computer's been killing it this year, so that's kind of scary.
Hey, sometimes you get a ride.
But I just simply look at the game grades for both teams from him. Like, how are the teams grading out? And overall, UCF has a clear edge. And UF, the last 3 years, they're 1-4-1 against Florida teams against the spread. I'll say it again. Florida, the last 3 years, they're 1-4-0 against the spread against Florida teams.
Wow. That probably counts Florida State, too.
Yes. Yes. So, and they played UCF at a bowl game in one of those. That was in the last 3 years. I think that was 3 years ago at this point. So that fact, and they lost pretty handily, I thought. So, yeah. And I'm going to ride the line shift. I'm going to ride the line shift as well.
Okay. I think I don't have much on this game, obviously. I think this is really, really interesting, though. Because like you said, Florida thinks they are a top 5 program in the school. UCF is not even looked at as little brother. They're more looked at as like, you're the other school in Florida. But UCF says, hey, we're in a Power 4 school now.
Yeah.
We're coming.
Yep.
So this is, and then both coaches on the hot seat. Man, there's a lot of good angles on this, like just for an entertainment point.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. The only side things I have are, I don't know if you said, we talk wind. I'm a wind guy. You should see the wind at Nebraska. We're approaching 20 miles an hour for this wind at Nebraska. I just want to make note of that, okay? Because that's going to be quite high on the wind. So keep an eye on that if you want to see it. The over-under is low. It's at under 40, or it's at 41 is what I got it at. That's simply just a win play for me. But y'all do what you want with it. The next one I have is I didn't bet this. Phil Steele loves it. I don't mean to give it out his picks, but one thing I did notice on one podcast I listened to, a UCLA former quarterback, and I saw it on the injury report as well. Their quarterback's injured for UCLA, their starter, and they're at Penn State, and the first start for their backup will be at Penn State. College Station, right? No, but yep. Yeah.
Is it is what Happy Valley?
Happy Valley.
Happy Valley. Is this guy a true freshman? This backup?
I think he's a sophomore. Specifically, is probably who they'll play.
Okay.
So yeah, but he does have playing time. He does have playing time. But UCLA's worst part of their team is their offensive line.
Yeah, and Eric Bieniemy is a OC, not cut.
That's right. And their over under for team total is 7.5.
And what's the record right now?
They have one win.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't feel like they have not meeting expectations.
So if you want it, if you like it, the spread last I saw was 27.5. 28 seems like a shit ton. I don't like it, but there's a lot of things that favor Penn State. They're at home. They're a great defensive team, if not the best in statistics defensively. And UCLA is a bad football team without their starting quarterback.
Man, that's just – I hate betting spreads that big. I hate it. It's hard.
I know.
Yeah. We took advantage of some Alabama ones earlier in the year because of Caleb DeBoer, but that's just hard.
Look at the starting time of the game.
Where are we at? Sorry, I can't even see.
Yep, Penn State.
Oh, it's new.
Kick.
So that's going to be 10 a.m.
9.
That's going to be 9 a.m. for UCLA. Ooh, another thing that favors Penn State. Okay, that's a little sneaky thing that people may not always look at, but that matters.
Yeah, something to pay attention more this season. It's a little wild. I mean, we've been seeing it a lot right here this last week and this week with conferences now starting to play each other. We had Washington traveling all the way last week to play Rutgers. You saw Rutgers end up coming out on top. This week, you even have it a little bit more. You got teams traveling all across the country here to kind of play each other, right? Syracuse is going all the way to Las Vegas and playing them. Michigan State's going all the way to Eugene to play them. These teams don't play each other very often, and they're traveling a long way to play each other, right? So keep
Conference
that in mind.
realignment, baby.
That's right. Keep that in mind, those travels, right, that they're all doing here, because it's going to really, really, really factor in to who you want to win.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And looking at, if you have the time to look at if they're coming off 2 big travel spots,
Yep.
that matters too. Like, okay, this is 1 big travel spot, but if they have a couple in a row, that wears on you more than you think.
Yep. I mean, Virginia Tech's going all the way out to San Francisco,
Stanford, this is wild. You're right, man.
Yep, to play them. So keep an eye on these long, right there, like you said, Rutgers, right? They're coming from, they played home last week, but now they're going all the way out to Omaha, basically, to play Nebraska, right? So kind of keep an eye on these long trips, that there could be some value there, that you guys kind of see something. And, I don't know. Clemson, Florida State, I didn't have that on my list, but Clemson, I think, handles that. I think Clemson, I think they win the ACC this year. I think they beat Miami. I think that's why.
So why is that spread so small? Because I saw that spread and I'm like, this is one of those fishy lines where I want to jump on Clemson, but this spread is way too small. Like, why? Do you have any?
Yeah, I think people believe, and I haven't really done a lot of reading, but I think people believe that Florida State can bounce back, and Clemson's defense kind of sucks. Kind of. I mean, they're letting up points to App State, right? They've let up some points to teams. Georgia did whatever the hell they wanted, but I know it's a different beast, kind of. Although Clemson should be in the same pocket echelon as Georgia, but they weren't.
Yeah, NC State put up 30 on them, 35 or something.
Yeah, I feel like people think that Florida State being, at home kind of will be more ready to rock and be in their pocket now that they're well in the season off of their, I guess, starting. I just don't think they're any good.
I mean, I feel like that fan base has given up on them personally.
And also that too. How much of a home advantage do they have? I mean, is it Clemson? Sure, maybe they'll get some. I don't know.
Yeah, I just don't think they really have much of a home field advantage, because the fans' expectations are so high, and you're 1-4, and you just got your ass beat by SMU. Who's showing up to that game?
Yeah, I mean, 114th ranked offense, man.
God,
I mean,
pathetic.
Clemson, I think, has a very good offense. I know they're only ranked 48th, but I think they can score on pretty much, definitely anybody in the ACC. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? So,
oof, man, I want to know who Oregon State's coach is, because I would look at that guy, because he made diamonds out of shit with DJU.
Oh,
clearly.
Gosh. Yeah,
right?
His numbers weren't even good at Oregon State either.
But somehow they had a good team, though, with him.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon State.
Know.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's thinking about Oregon State.
Exactly. I'm not. Yeah. So anyway, all right. Best bets recap. I have that here on our slide. Let me go for us here. Let's do a view. Let's do a slideshow. All right. And we're going to get us all the way here. My best bets. I was going to throw my Jeudy one on there because I do like that a lot. And I still might.
You want to say you want to count it?
I will count it. I will edit it. I will post it. So I do have 4 again. So just to reiterate, Jerry Jeudy, 43.5 over receiving yards. I actually had that right before the show. But anyway, South Alabama, Ark State, first half under 30.5. I don't even know if that game time's right. I don't think I edited them. But Iowa at Ohio State, over 46.5. And then a tough one here, UCF minus 2.5. That game time is right. UCF minus 2.5 at Florida. That one's going to be a nail biter, but it should be fun to watch. So those are my best bets.
Hell yeah!
And then here's see what you got. Those right? I think they look right.
That is correct. Yep. So we got teaser, talked about it, taking the Jets and the Bengals, getting them up to 8.5 each. The Bills -1 at the Texans. See if we got a bounce back spot like I think there. The Bengals team total over 23.5. See if they can exploit that Ravens bad safety and really a secondary that's kind of been picked on. And then I have Stephon Diggs receiving yards over 51.5. Yep. Hoping the slot action works.
Yep, that's what we want. I like that one.
Yep.
That's a good one. All right, we got 5 minutes still kicked, maybe 10 minutes really, and
I think we kicked off 5 minutes ago.
Oh man! All right, that tells you what we got to do. All right, we'll catch y'all next time. See you
later.